Hey, I'm Birdman.
Hey, I'm Michael.
It's time to get on target at.
The Hub.
We're not at a store.
No, we're not.
I think this is Michael's first time seeing the new set.
Yeah, it is. The lights are definitely bright. So
Try not to look right at the light. That's the one thing.
yeah.
So, wow. I'm going to show a picture of the whole plethora of them.
Yeah. So we've recently got our manufacturing license, and because of that, we can make whatever we want. And so with that, we've been making a bunch of rental machine guns, and some stuff isn't rentals and stuff like that. But the main purpose of doing all this is so that we can have stuff that's really cool that when you come to the Hub and you want to try something that you've never seen before, you could try it in a full auto example or a burst. So
explain that real quick, the difference between full auto and burst exactly.
So it depends on the type of firearm and the way it's set up, but some firearms actually have the ability to do semi-auto and then burst, which is whatever round count they decide. So 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, whatever they pick. And then full auto is just as you hold the trigger, it just continually empties the mag.
Empties the mag.
The cool thing about the burst fire is you get a lot more control with some firearms because as you see with certain platforms that we shot with certain calibers, you really get some recoil, and it gets to a point where there's no point to going full auto, other than it's fun. While as other firearms, there's a real point to going full auto. They continually can stay on target. And you could see, when we'll go through each gun, and when, some guns was very easy for me to control, and the target, the grouping was very tight, whereas, the spear and stuff like that, it's just so much caliber and it's so quick that the shots go where they go.
And to be honest, didn't focus on the targets too much because when he went full auto, in most cases, it blew the target out of the way. Yeah. So it was kind of not even there anymore.
Yeah, a lot of these guns put so much gas forward that it just pushed the target completely up. We didn't really focus on the target, but you can kind of tell by me. If my shoulder's rocking back and forth, the gun has some recoil. I've actually had some people reach out and be like, you need to do some training and stuff like that. Because I posted some videos of the spear, and I'm just like, well, do some videos, watch some videos, do some research on the 277 Sig Fury, and remember that this is a semi-auto gun converted. So the gas system was designed for semi, in a sense. I'm sure they did a little bit of fine tuning for the full auto ones.
And how many full autos exist?
To our knowledge, none, besides SIG and the military. And that's because they're so limited. Only elite dealers, we have 2 locations that are elite with Sig Sauer, got spears. And so you would think, so you got 2 of them. Well, no, it's per elite. So it didn't matter if you had 10 elite stores. You only got 1 spear. So there's something like 50 to 60 elite stores. So that's how many were made in the first batch. They're going to come out with another variant. We've seen videos of it. It's called the Raptor. It's kind of like a pistol version, which is nutty because that caliber is wicked.
Same caliber in a pistol. Oh, yeah. My mind went a different way, but yeah. So without the stock.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. But they're also saying that there's going to maybe be a 16-inch variant, which to me makes more sense with that platform, unless you're going to do a suppressed version like the spear that we have. But no, very cool rifle, and you can tell by it, there's a lot more recoil. After we got done shooting, I brought one of the managers back that is very obsessed with that gun, and I let him shoot it, and he stood straight up, and I'm like, lean more forward, and I actually have a video of it. I'm just saying the whole time, I'm like, lean forward. He pulls the trigger, and it, fires 3 rounds, and it almost rocks him backwards.
And he's a big guy.
Yeah, he's all, I would say he's almost 7 feet.
Almost.
And, probably 250 like muscle, not fat. This guy is not fat at all. So, the gun has a lot of recoil. And so after he did that, I'm like, lean forward more. And he finally like leans forward, and I'm like, even more. And he doesn't, but he's strong enough that he could overcome it. So different guns have different abilities, full auto. And a lot of times you'll hear, like in the military, they would get in trouble if they went full auto. So it's designed for certain situations and certain guns and certain things. I have these talks with people all the time. They're like, well, that gun, it's so much recoil, you can't keep on target. What's the point of that? And I'm like, right, at long distance. But if someone rushes you, close quarter, that's pretty wicked.
Throw a whole lot of brass at them real quick.
Yeah, and we talk about different firearm platforms. The Mac 10s and Mac 11s and MP9s and stuff like that. They were designed for close quarter situations where you're facing threats and you need to put a lot of lead down range. So
I said brass.
Yeah. So to me, there's a situation for every gun. And you can't just say, oh, full auto, that's stupid. Because there are situations where it really does help. And certain calibers, 9mm, the MP7 and the 4.6, which has just become popular because CMMG brought it back. You've got God, I'm drawing a blank right now. You've got the 5.7. So you've got all these different little, kind of sub-rifle calibers that really have no recoil. We have a Scorpion, and not the CZ Scorpion, the original Scorpion, which shoots it shoots a Russian caliber or a 32 ACP. So in 32 ACP, one-handed, full mag dump, and your grouping is very tight. So just very little recoil, and it really just depends on the platform. I love everything full auto. I'm a gun guy. I've been in guns long enough, and I've sold guns long enough that pistol, standard pistols and stuff like that, while I love them, they serve their purpose, doesn't really get me going that much anymore. I'm like, sweet, another Smith & Wesson, or sweet, another Glock. Now don't get me wrong, we sell some really cool stuff, Nighthawk, Core, all that stuff.
Go check out the other videos.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They'll get you going, but at the same time, they get to a price point where you're like, ooh, do I want to go abuse this right now? And that's where these guns are really, firearms are really cool to me, because they're normal rifles that have been converted, and or some of these were actually made, factory-made guns. But they're just standard rifles, So like, I could have you shoot any of these rifles, and then if you like it, I could put you into the same gun, just in a semi-auto configuration, so that you basically know, okay, hey, I can't do this legally, but if I did, it would feel like that. And man, with a SIG MCX and 5.56, there's no recoil really. So I want that gun in semi-auto because it's going to be even less recoil in semi-auto. So it really gives someone an ability to go, you know what, I really like that. And the other cool thing is with some of these, and our idea down the line is we're going to have, some HKs where you basically go, you know what, I really like that gun. And I go, okay, if you want that gun, it's $2,500. And you look at me going, what? And I go, I'll put a semi-auto pack into it. So you can have that exact gun you just shot full auto, and I'll sell it to you with a semi-auto pack. So it's a semi-auto gun. Boom. For $2,500. And that's the cool thing about some of these platforms is it's as easy as changing the trigger pack. And again, the trigger pack you can get legally, you're just gonna pay for it. Yeah. HKs get into the 40 grand for a trigger pack. 35 to 40 grand. And it's just because pre-86, you didn't have to register that. Well, when 86, when they said, okay, everyone has to register now, some people didn't. They were like, well, no, it's not worth the $200 to do that. I'm not going to do that. And so, You have unregistered machine guns and registered machine guns. Well, if it was registered, it can be transferred. And so it's worth a lot more. And if it wasn't registered, well, it can only be basically a pre-may or a dealer sample. And it depends on how it was made and how it was done. So,
so let's do this. You're going to like and subscribe to the channel here. And in the next few weeks, well, you can get 8 or 9 of them, you can see the guns that we've been talking about, and they'll be shooting them. We'll do a quick overview of the gun and then show it in action. So I'm Birdman.
I'm Michael.
And we'll see you soon.